When planning the road to success, there are a few steps to keep in mind. Identifying and solving the cause, facing and embracing change, goal setting, and being accountable. We'll talk about this today on Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. New and healthier habits lead to prosperity in all areas of your life and business. Now, here's your host, Chris Salem.
Welcome to Sustainable Success. My name is Chris Salem, your host, and if you are new to the show, you found us here at Voice America Business Channel, now on the Lisbon platform that we've been here since January of 2025, and today is official. Yes, everybody, May 15th, we've had this show out for 8 years. We launched this show back on May 15th of 2017. Hard to believe it's been 8 years. And we want to thank you listeners each and every week that have made this possible. We are here and committed here at Sustainable Success to bring in content that is contextual and where you can now easily apply to move you and your business to the next level. And if you are new to the show, we welcome those new listeners. You could also follow us on not only Libsyn platform now, that's sustainablesuccess.libsyn.com, but also on Apple at Sustainable Success, also at Spotify at Sustainable Success, and our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. We are so excited that, again, we have covered so many different topics here over the years. And again, we're always welcome for, to hear about new content that you'd like to hear. So if you'd like to hear about any new content, reach out to us here at the Sustainable Success team at chris@sustainablesuccess.net, and we'll make sure somebody gets back to you to get more information on what we could potentially cover for a future episode with the right subject matter expert with the content you're seeking information on. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, this is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to come in and generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. And as a member, you're offered a wide array of different services, both on a professional and personal level, that are not available to the general public. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a wonderful show planned for you today, and this is a gentleman that I've known for several years. Wonderful guy, and I'm sure you're going to feel the same after the conclusion of today's show. We're going to be talking about Go All In. Yes, Go All In, your blueprint to wealth, legacy, and financial freedom. We're going to be here with Drew Berman. And, Drew brings nearly 30 years of experience helping entrepreneurs and service providers boost revenue, build influence, and design financial futures that matter. From estate planning to fintech innovation, Drew's work with attorneys, insurance agents, and business owners is reshaping the financial landscape, and you'll learn more about that as well here later in the show, because Drew just launched a new book that's been recently out for about a little over a month, I believe now, and Drew will be able to give you some more information on that here later. And without further ado, we welcome Drew Berman to the show. Drew, how you doing today?
Hey, Chris, good to see you. Good to hear you. I'm happy to be with you on your 8-year anniversary. What a message to the world as Sustainable Success. 8 years. That's not a one and done. That's not a one-hit wonder. The content, the quality of professionals that you bring is extraordinary. So thank you for having me, and happy anniversary.
Thank you so much, Drew. It's a pleasure to be here. And, Drew, let's talk a little bit about Go All In. We live in a world now where there's so many things out there, so many shiny objects, so many opportunities, different ways to obtain success. And especially when it comes to finances, like how we can build our financial futures. Yet, and I say yet, I don't want to say however or but, that negates what I just said, but yet so many people, they don't go all in. They kind of dabble one foot in the water and they got the other foot out. They're not going all in. Can we give a little background about yourself when it comes to going all in? Because I've seen you go all in and other things in the past, and you're one of those types of people that when he says he's going to do something, you do it. So talk a little bit about going all in?
Well, thanks, Chris. And you and I have developed a personal and professional relationship over years. We've traveled around the country together, and you and I often talk sports. And there's not much difference between a pretty good high school football team and a Super Bowl championship NFL team. They both kick, throw, block, and tackle. I mean, those are the basics of the sport, right? They both score touchdowns, they both throw passes. So, what's the difference between a good high school football team and a Super Bowl championship team? Not much, and a million things at the same time. There's a million micro distinctions between white belt and black belt, except they kick, they punch, and they block. But what's the difference? So if you go through the stats of all kids who pick up a football and play high school football versus the ones that actually play, versus the ones that actually get records and awards, versus the ones that actually get chosen to be on a football team in college, versus the ones that actually get to play in football in college, versus the ones that get to start and break records. I just saw an interview with Tom Brady. I had no idea, man, that the greatest of all time didn't get picked till the 6th round. I had no idea. I saw an interview
Well,
with him.
he didn't even start playing football until his freshman year of high school.
Yeah. And then they said that after college, he was like awkward and lanky. And he said he was walking with his parents. And after the 5th round, they were just like, they were being super supportive parents. They were so thankful. He got a call from the Patriots after the 6th round. And then he wasn't even the starter, right? And then I think the starting football.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe got got hit by a jet defender, and he was out for at least good 8 games, and that's what created history.
Yeah, created history. And then he became the best the greatest of all time. So when at some point he decided to go all in, at some point you decided to go all in with sustainable success. And go all in, I think came from, I don't know if it came from poker, like that expression where you put all the chips on the table, like you're all in. And then there's the lesson of the guy that, the general that, brought the army to the enemy land and they commanded burn the boats. Like there's no retreat. There's no back door. And I realized when I got into the home-based business arena, I was dealing with part-time entrepreneurs. Most of them had jobs that wanted to create wealth part-time on the side. And most of them failed because they didn't treat it like a multi-million-dollar business. They treated it like a part-time, sometime hobby business. So I think I had to write the book as a mentorship, a self-mentorship to me. Like, stop wasting my talents, stop dabbling, go all in just for a season, 36 months. Like, what would happen if you went all in for 36 months on anything? And when my son, your son and my son are a similar age, when my son was young, he went all in for Taekwondo. He went black belt. It took 3 years, but he went all in. And I learned a lot from those years because he had a bow to get into the room. Imagine if we bowed at our workspace and kept it sacred. And then during Taekwondo, there were no girls, there was no math homework, there was no cell phones. There was a giant sign on the wall that said, I am a black belt. And then they would meditate, and then they would do the drills for an hour. Imagine, Chris, as you travel the world and all the different businesses and entrepreneurs that you work with, imagine the 3 years entrepreneurs took that type of sacred space in their business and went all in. So I wrote it for me as like a self-mentorship guide, but the accolades I'm getting from the marketplace is kind of profound, and I'm really happy. And they always taught, if you train the guy in the mirror, others will relate, and that's what happened.
That's great. That's great. And I think you gave some great contextual content around what going all in is. It's one of the things that, and Drew, would it be safe to say that, when you're going all in, it can be sometimes the most uncomfortable feeling you can ever imagine because of the unknown, the uncertainty, the fear. Things are not maybe working out immediately as you envisioned. And sometimes you're on the brink of like, why am I doing this? But yet you keep going. And because you went all in, you made this commitment. And it wasn't just that you said it, that your behavior, your communication, your attitude, your emotions, and your actions are still in alignment with one another. It's not one contradicting the other for the go all in to trust that process.
Yeah, and you said it all in one word. It's commitment. And commitment has been maybe diluted over the years, right? I'm committed, yeah, but I'm committed unless. But maybe committed means going all in. And you make a decision and you commit, that's going all in. And the reason Just Do It is a multi-billion-dollar brand, go all in is not yet a multi-billion-dollar brand. In fact, we have sold less than 1 billion books, and hopefully we will break that record one day. But it is really the simple T-shirts, the simple bumper stickers. Go all in, just do it, no excuses. Commit, decide. It's all the same, but I think we've diluted the English language. If we just commit to one process and we don't stop, I guess the challenge is for me with my adult entrepreneurial business ADD, I get sidetracked. I get, like even now I'm very focused here, but like if I hear a noise, I look in this direction. But that's the same thing with our phones. It's like all the pings and everything. I'm like, wait a second, let me just stop. Let me just focus. I got a good business. I got all the tools. I got all the puzzle pieces. Let me just focus. What if I go all in for 36 months? And the reason I chose 36 months is because my son's a freshman in high school. In 4 years, he's going to graduate. What if I give this the same attention he gives high school? And what if I just go all in for the next 3-4 years? What's going to happen? What kind of legacy can I create? What kind of magic can I create? Because what I realized now that I'm 52, I'm not getting any younger. All my friends, all the sports games, all the nights out, all the parties, they're all going to be there in a couple years. And I learned a lesson from my son. He's maybe 1 year older than yours. He's a sophomore, and he just got a job on Wall Street for his junior summer, 15 months in advance. And my wife's like, he's going to have to work 80-hour weeks. And then I talked to some people on Wall Street, and my son, he's like closer to 110-hour weeks. So I'm thinking, okay, 20 years old, laser focus. You get there at 6 a.m. You work till 10, 12, 2 a.m. And you do that for 2-3 years. I'm like, what if I did that as an adult? Like, what if I took that type of serious and focused commitment? What type of mountains can I move? So I wrote the book to inspire me, because now when I reread the book, I'm like, whoa, I better take this to heart. I better start doing it. I better start living it. Time to go all in.
Yeah, no, so true. And it is, and there's sometimes sacrifices. Not that we sacrifice our overall well-being or our relationship, but sometimes we have to give a little bit more to those areas, and sometimes other areas got to go back a little bit. So as long as we're keeping in harmony, in order to, and sometimes like with your son's case, he's young and not married, and he can put that time in, right? And this is a great time to do that, to build that foundation for himself, and to build a great future for a future family, as he does that. So share with the audience, when it comes to going all in, I've learned as a high performance consultant and coach, working with CFOs and CEOs and high performing sales professionals. If we try to do everything all at once, it's pretty much not going to probably work out well, because you can't learn too many things at once. But you got to start somewhere with one thing. It's like starting with one habit, doing it for 30 days, repeat it, and then layer in another habit. And after 6 months, you got now 6 things that's part of your routine that could change the trajectory, the direction of your life or business to a whole new level. Talk about, with the go all in, what would be, from your experience, that first step or phase that you would recommend people look into?
Yeah, so I heard this at a conference a little less than a year ago, after this gentleman had interviewed more living millionaires than anyone else in history. That might be his actual true claim to fame. And he says, write the letter. He says, don't onboard a new teammate, don't onboard a new partner until you have them do this exercise. And I've challenged some of my teammates. Write the letter to your best friend or your favorite uncle or your favorite mentor or your best teacher or your best support staff or your favorite spouse or yourself or God. Write the letter 5 years from today, thanking the higher power or thanking, the world, and identifying the 5 years of what you've accomplished. So you're conditioning the mind in the future of what you're celebrating. And I think we well overestimate what we could do in 3 and 6 months and a year. And we greatly underestimate what we could do in 5. And if you paint the vision 5 years from today, dear best friend, I am celebrating blank, blank, and blank. My marriage is this. My health is this. My money is this. My business is this. My account balance is this. You start to write from the future, and instead of setting goals and working towards them, let's identify goals and work backwards from them, and acting as if it is already so. Believe bigger, believe sooner, and then go for it, and then go all in, starting with the best case scenario at the end and working backwards as if. That's what I would say would be the best place to start.
Okay, awesome. That is some great, solid advice, and we hope everybody that's listening is taking notes. And again, we highly encourage everybody to do so and go back and listen to this show again, because a lot of times we maybe not pick up something the first time, but you do the second time. Valuable information. Drew, as we are getting close to coming to break here in about a minute and a half, I'd like you to just, before we get into the next segment, to elaborate anything else that you feel that you want to expand on with that first phase to kind of close out this first segment until we can go into the other things that you're going to share in the second segment.
Yeah, we don't look in the mirror and say, "Ugh, I'm so disgusted and fat." We look in the mirror and be like, "Okay, thank you. This is where I'm at, and this is where I start." So everything we need, we have. Everything you want is coming. And know that, believe that. You're not defined by your past. I'm not defined by my past. We can draw the line in the sand today. Today could be our New Year's resolution, and we can create the future that we want. I'm a Jewish guy, but I think it says in the Bible, call forth that which does not yet exist. And we can create the future that we want by deciding, committing, going all in, and then believing bigger and believing sooner.
Wow. So true. And as I like to say, what you had just shared, it's trusting the process. You got to focus on what is, okay? I can't always look at it for what I think it should be, because then I can get caught up in the control I can't control. If I look at it for what it is, I could adapt to the things that are beyond my control, and now focus on what I can't control. My intentions, my communication to myself and others, my behavior in alignment with that, my attitude, my emotions and how I respond versus react to situations and other people, and my action, that I'm laser focused, like you said, on the priorities that truly matter. Delegating the things that I'm not good at, or things that are going to, better serve me to be focused on what's more important, to now move the ball forward or get to that next level of that mountain, so to speak. I know you got more to share here, and we're also going to find out more information about your book and where to get it. Everybody, we got to go to break, but when we come right back, we got more to come here. So we just hit the tip of the iceberg. Again, go all in, your blueprint to wealth, legacy, and financial freedom with Drew Berman, and we'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. We're talking about Go All In, your blueprint to wealth, legacy, and financial freedom. We're here with Drew Berman. Again, Drew is somebody I personally know now for well over 10 plus years. And again, a man whose actions align with what he talks about. Again, we encourage everyone to listen to the first segment of the show as Drew gave some valuable information into the foundation and the insights of what going all in is. Drew, I know you are now involved a lot in helping people to create wealth, financial freedom, legacy. That's the world of estate planning. That could be the world of insurance, in this case, life insurance. Also, ways in how we can take our wealth or whatever amount of money we have that we can start allowing that money to work for us to now grow our wealth. Talk about some of the principles with Go All In and how that can really help shape the future for someone, their families, and create a legacy.
Yeah, thanks for that. So, in the first section, we were talking about go all in and what does that really mean when you use the words. And we talked about making a decision, sticking to it, commitment. That's what it means to go all in. It's just been diluted. I felt the same way about financial freedom. I was unsure if I should put that in the title of the book because for the first part of my career, from 20 to 50, I was teaching entrepreneurs how to create financial freedom by earning more, by taking on side hustles. The home-based business arena is where I became, a leader and built a big business. And I realized that a very small percentage of people could actually create financial freedom. Because we live in a society of consumerism, and financial freedom has become a little tongue-in-cheek. But when I met an estate planning attorney and I started learning more about how to properly prepare for eventual retirement, what it means to legally pay less taxes, what it means to prepare for premature death and living too long. When I learned that living too long could be a problem, I was blown away because it never occurred to me. But if you mathematically prepare your life to live till 85, but because you're healthy and because of modern technology, you live to 97, well, you got to have the finances in place because you and I right now are young, we're healthy, we're ambitious, we have the ability to go out and make money. But there's people like our age. I often think of Michael J. Fox. Imagine, here was a young, successful, good-looking, handsome, healthy actor, and his health got the best of him. I don't want to come down with something that won't allow me to work and contribute, or, in my 60s. What if I make a lot of money and want to travel, and then things go sideways, and then I have to work in my 70s and 80s? Now, my grandfather died at 82 doing a deal kind of in his hospital bed. And I always thought, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe my grandfather really loves what he does. And maybe it's just like, it's driving him and, it keeps his brain sharp. I don't know. Like maybe if me and you, if my brain is sharp and I'm doing projects that I like, maybe I'll want to work into my 70s and 80s. But maybe I won't have the same drive that I have now at 52. And maybe I won't want to. So what if I can prepare now my finances so that I at least have that financial choice? So I started working with this estate planning attorney, and I was a business consultant for his law firm. He had a global law firm, but he actually worked with a lot of tax advisors and financial consultants and financial advisors and financial insurance brokers. I started coaching them because, you and I, Chris, we understand business, sales, marketing, teams, recruiting, leadership, follow-up. I was teaching lawyers how to follow up. I told one lawyer how often do you call your clients? He's like, I don't. I'm like, why don't you call your clients once a month? He's like, why would I call my clients once a month? And I'm like, so I was like teaching him how to like connect with humans and I was teaching him stuff that I've learned: prospecting, recruiting, sales, team building. And then I started mentoring and coaching insurance agents and financial brokers. And that's when Glenn took me to Cabo. And actually, Glenn paid his way through law school selling life insurance. And I never thought life insurance was a profession. I thought it was like the lowest thing on the totem pole. I thought it was like, used car salesman was here, and then under that was life insurance. I never knew, but it's a noble profession. He has an artist that he commissioned at his office, the estate planning attorney. I'm pointing because he's here with me, but he has a painting that he commissioned, and it's a woman, sad, holding a baby, crying in her neck. The 3-year-old is hugging the mom's leg, sad. The dog is next to them, sad. The day the dad dies, and the knight in shining armor, bent at the knee, is handing her $1 million policy. And I'm like, whoa, this is a noble profession. So I started talking to people that said, I'd rather you tell me, you think I'm trying to sell you something and you have that feeling about me, but I'd rather come to your husband's funeral and give you $500,000 than a bouquet of flowers. And I'm like, what? And I started learning about insurance. And there's ways to create wealth using insurance strategically that a lot of people don't know. It's not just about dying anymore. It's about protecting your assets, growing your wealth, paying legally less taxes, setting up your philanthropy for your legacy, working with your charity of choice, protecting your loved ones, getting involved in young. When you're healthy, you can get and compound interest over time. All these things put together, and I'm like, if I spent the first half of my life trying to make money, and I spend the second half of my life trying to teach people the proper ways to invest money, what better calling is there? So, and now I work with, when people say, I just met with a woman, she sold a house and she had $200,000. What does someone do with $200,000 after they sell a house? They have tax concerns. They can either buy another house, they could buy crypto, they could buy international foreign currencies, they can invest in a business, or they could buy life insurance. All of them are different vehicles. So I figured, all right, let me learn one. Let me become an expert at it. I work with an estate planning attorney, and now we help people protect what's most important to them: their family, their home, their money, and their business. And I said, what if I go all in? What if I go all in on this niche? And what if I become great at it? And that was the inspiration of the book.
Wow, that's fabulous. Great stuff. So give us a little idea, like what would be, a lot of times people don't know enough about life insurance. They think life insurance is something that, again, if when the event they die, it's going to pay a certain amount of money out to their family, cover kids' education, pay off the mortgage. But there's more to it. There's different types of life insurance: term life, universal life, whole life, annuities, all different types of things, and they all serve different purposes. But to the average person, a lot of people don't understand life insurance. If people actually did their research, they would understand that, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, that some of the people that started the Industrial Revolution used life insurance to create the massive amounts of wealth that to this day still are in their families. Talk about that, even if it's on a smaller level in this case, how that can help people really, sustain and grow their wealth while pursuing their purpose, whatever that is, a business or a different career, whatever that may be.
Well, there's no blowing smoke, but I know you a long time. You're a very wise soul, and you understand the depth of business. You're a business philosopher of sorts, and everything you just said sometimes takes me months to teach people. But there is a concept of what would the Rockefellers do. There's a book called What Would the Rockefellers Do? There's a book called Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance. People don't know that Disney World was built on life insurance. Most of Walmart was built on life insurance. Bank of America has like $30 trillion in life insurance. So why? Because life insurance has different rules and regulations and laws and tax codes. Not everybody knows the laws and the tax codes. I don't know them all, but I know that if you get paid $100, you're going to get taxed. The government's going to take a certain amount of tax from your $100. What's remaining is your money. You've already paid tax. So now you could buy a life insurance policy, which by certain laws isn't considered an investment. Because you've already paid tax, you've paid tax on the seed, now that money's going to grow. Well, the money's going to grow tax-free because you've already paid tax on it. And because it's not considered an investment, it's still growing with compound interest. But because the laws protect this trillion-dollar industry, it could grow tax-free and you could take it out tax-free. So when I sit with clients and friends and partners and family members, there's math around what your 401k is doing. There's math around what your investments are doing. There's math around, if you're a real estate investor, when you sell it, the different tax ramifications that are gonna be that you're gonna be responsible for. So when I sit down and we do estate planning, and we make sure you have a will, you have a trust, you have an estate plan, so your family avoids probate at all costs. Then we work with your different finances. We do a very simple analysis. We do it for 25 minutes. It's complimentary. It's called a dime analysis: debt, income, mortality, and education. Now, how much debt do you have? What's your approximate income? When you die, what do you want to make sure is that minimum covered? And are you looking to contribute to the education of your kids or grandkids? Then we get into a little bit of a retirement. I was talking to a woman yesterday, good worker, multiple jobs. And I'm like, do you have a 401k? She's like, yeah, I have an old one. I said, oh, cool. From when? From when I was working with the other company. Awesome. How much is in there? I don't know. How much do you contribute? Not sure. Do they still contribute to it? I don't know. I'm like, do you want those numbers evaluated? She's like, yes. I'm like, that's what we will do for you. So we'll evaluate someone's current situation, and we're ethical people. If you've got a good situation, we'll be like, keep that. Like, don't get rid of that. But I usually ask people this question: you have life insurance, right? Most people say, well, yeah. I say, is it the kind you have to die to get, or do you have a modern day kind of life insurance? And most people, maybe 8 out of 10, say, what do you mean? Well, you mentioned term. Well, old school is buy term, invest the rest. That philosophy still works. It's fine. But if you buy a term policy for 10 or 20 years, at the end of the policy, it no longer has cash value. And most people don't die during their term life insurance. So if you were to take out a term life insurance right now at your age, they know to the minute, to the day of when stereotypically a man of your height, your weight, from your part of the country, when you'll die. So they know the math. So it's built on trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and tens and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people mathematically. But you don't want to bet against the house. You want to bet with the house, right? So we know we're going to die, and we know we might get sick. So in the last 20 or 30 years, they've introduced something called term with living benefits, meaning you can get sick during your term years, and you can get the money from the insurance company while you're living. We had a guy that qualified for great insurance. 3 months later, he got diagnosed with cancer, and he got the money. He got $250,000 from the insurance company while he was living. He beat the cancer. He lived a long time, and he needed that money to pay for the stuff in his family. So there's a lot of creative ways to use insurance as a component of your wealth building strategy. And if you don't have a good doctor on your team, a good lawyer on your team, and a good finance and insurance guy on your team, you need those 3 things so that you can do life, and then we can build your empire out of brick, not straw.
Got it. So true. And And what you just said about a team, it's like, again, like a family, an extended family, and a lot of times you're not going to be good at all these different things. No person in business is going to be good at every aspect of running a business. Not everybody's going to understand insurance and the financial side of things. But if you arm yourself with the right resources, those are the things that again allow you to focus on what you're good at and letting the other people focus on what they're good at, resources, what they're good at. That's going to help you and where you are and where you're going. Just like you said, it's so important here doing that. As we're getting close, we're about less than 4 minutes into the next break. If you could just piggyback where you left off, Drew, on that, and give somebody that's listening and just hearing this, maybe they've heard it, but it didn't register, but now it's perhaps it's registering with them right now. What would be that first step that you would suggest they take to gather more due diligence?
Take stock and ownership of what you have. You can't improve if you don't know what you have. So know your numbers. You should have an accountant. You should have a good accountant, a good dentist, a good finance advisor, a good insurance agent, and a good lawyer on your team. And we kind of run our business like a family office. Glenn is an estate planning attorney. He has taught me that he's doing succession planning. I love that because some people don't want to sell their business. Some kids don't want to inherit their parents' business. Some businesses aren't sellable. Like, that. Like, you and I have talked about different businesses that are growing, but they're not sellable. No one's going to buy their business unless it's sellable. So succession planning, estate planning, tax planning, you cannot overplan. I would say in our last 3 minutes, you cannot overplan. If you plan your retirement years, if you plan your income, mortality is a thing. We're all going to die. Listen, I love my dad dearly. You met him. He passed many years ago. But when he died, he didn't have final expense insurance. And we had to come up with $6,000 and that was bare minimum. That was just to get him buried. And my aunt, my sister, and his wife all had to chip in $1,500. And I was raising two young boys. I didn't have $1,500 just lying around. And it wasn't his fault. He wasn't properly educated. So final expense is the least expensive insurance you can get. And it just covers your mortality so that your family isn't burdened with the financial challenges when you pass.
Yeah.
And then there's other options.
Yeah. So, share a little bit because we still got time and before we get into the next segment to elaborate on this, because I want to get into more of the book. We got 2 minutes and more that you can add to that to really, wet the whistle of the listener that says, hey, I need to take more action here.
Yeah. If you die, when you die, what do you want your loved ones to still have? And instead of future saying it, ask ourselves, if I didn't make it home yesterday, how would I still want my family to live? Do we want our spouses to go back to work? Do we want our spouses to inherit our businesses and then work with our business partners? If you're in business and you have a business partner and he dies, do you want to work with his wife necessarily? So we have to have some kind of succession planning. If the key person in your business dies, there's something called key man insurance. Sit with an expert. I don't go to my dentist and tell him what to fix. Come to me, come to an expert, come to someone who knows what they're doing, and we'll evaluate where you are, and we'll help you come up with some clarity. We'll help you and your spouse get together on the same financial page so that it's not you against the world, but you guys are united on the financial front.
Wow. Powerful information, everybody. We hope everybody is taking notes. Again, we encourage everybody to go back and listen to this segment as well as the first segment. And again, if you have somebody that that could benefit from this, the content from this show with Drew, feel free to make sure that you share that with them. There's a lot of great information that was covered here in the last two segments of today's show. Again, we are approaching our break. Again, we want to encourage everybody that you're going to get Drew's contact information here a little bit later. here at the end of the show. So again, just hang in there. We're have one more segment to go, but when we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about Drew's book, Go All In. So you'll get to find out a lot of things that he's already been sharing come from that book, but he'll be adding some additional information. And again, we're excited to hear what Drew's going to share with us here in the last segment. All right, everybody, we got to go to break. When we come right back, we got more to come here with Go All In here with Drew Berman, and we'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com. Voice America is on LinkedIn. Connect with us today. You are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. We're talking about Go All In, your blueprint to wealth, legacy, and financial freedom with Drew Berman. Today's show is being brought to you again by Alumni Direct, a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it also features a new from athletes to entrepreneurs section. Yes, for those professional athletes now that are transitioning into everyday life, perhaps you're going into a new career. Maybe you're going to work for somebody. Maybe you're becoming a financial advisor. Who knows? Or you're starting a franchise. Whatever the situation may be, you don't have to do it alone. Now you can now team up in groups with other professional athletes that are doing the same thing. So this way you can build up relationships to make this transition more seamless. Yes, there is something for the professional athlete, and that's at Alumni Direct. Now, it also features a podcast for this area called From Athletes to Entrepreneur. That's with the CEO and founder, Rob Finkelstein, who started that podcast about 3 years ago, interviewing former professional athletes, now transitioning to other types of professions. And again, you can listen to that podcast that comes out each and every week from the alumnidirect.com website. So you like some more information and you are a professional athlete or know one that's retiring and looking for a group or someone to align with, well, here's the place at alumnidirect.com. Check them out and let them know that Sustainable Success sent you to them. So, Drew, as we are in the final segment of today's show with Going All In, your blueprint to, again, creating wealth and legacy and financial freedom, talk a little bit about, some other aspects that maybe you did not touch on yet here that in the book, because I know you're going to let us know, how do we get our hands on the book? And, is it on Amazon? Is there an Audible version? That type of thing. But share any other insights that you felt that would be valuable to the listeners that we have yet to cover here in this show.
Well, once again, it comes sports again. You just mentioned Alumni Direct and athletes that are post-athletic career into a new career. That's actually a very smart and interesting and unique target market for us. Veterans, athletes, and Latinos, right? So why? Because someone told me back in the day, niche yourself rich. I love working with athletes. They've been taught grit. They've been taught team. They've been taught dedication. They've been taught winning. And when I get the, and we build like a team. So I'm actually also recruiting, right? I am looking for people to work with. So not only are we looking for families to help, we're looking for people to work with. So if that, when Chris said that about Alumni Direct, athletes looking for a potential new career, we like to take, we're a good fit. We're a good match for that because we're building a team. We're building a championship team. In fact, I had a team meeting today. I'm like, listen, wherever you are in the country, but think New York Yankees, Dallas Cowboys, Manchester United, Chicago Bulls of the Michael Jordan era. We're building a championship team. We're looking for superstars. Veterans, great candidates for us. Athletes, absolutely. And we have a mechanism where athletes can use our training system and grow and protect their wealth and grow and protect families' wealth. So I have like 75 agents in my agency right now as we're building an agency and we're expanding all over the country. And here I am at an event. I said Latinos because I fell in love with the Spanish culture when I lived in Spain. And I work with a lot of Latino realtors and mortgage brokers in and around the Northeast. So now I'm connecting all the dots. I'm working with realtors, tax experts, mortgage brokers, estate planning attorney, finance advisors. And it's like, whoa, that's kind of a hub of important things that people should, know about. I'm like, why can't I just be a center of influence in that space? And that's what Go All In really is. It's a branding mechanism. And by the way, I know, Chris, you have a book, The Inner Critic, which really helps business people and entrepreneurs and parents understand their inner conflicts, their inner dialogue that we all have, our demons from the past. And when you write a book, it creates a branding identity. And the truth is, with AI, it's not that difficult to write a book these days. In my first book, I did 4 educational conferences. I transcribed them, and I was able to turn them into a book. Now with AI, if you have your ideas kind of compartmentalized and you have a little bit of a knowledge base, you can share with the world in a printed form. But Go All In is really about helping people prepare for eventual retirement, knowing that they have options, helping people get out of debt, or at least getting their debt in order, and growing and protecting what my word for the year is, Chris, is legacy. What legacy are we looking to leave? And we can spend it all while we're here, but wouldn't it be nice to leave some for our next generations? I think I read somewhere where it said a good man leaves his fortune to his kids and a great man leaves his fortune to his grandkids, something like that. But how do we pay it forward so that people don't have the financial burden? And how do we not become a financial burden in our older years? And for that, that's why I wrote, but I say we wrote, go all in.
Well, no, you made a great point, because here's the thing, how I see it, Drew, why your book will be quite valuable. We live in a world that's very reactive, meaning that we address our health when we get sick. We scramble to make more money when we hit financial distress. We don't seek, we don't go to the, ask for help until something goes south in our business. So the thing is, what Go All In is about being proactive. Like what you said earlier, in 5 years, this is where I'm going to be. And now we're going to have to backtrack it and re-engineer it back to where we are, trusting the process. What can I control right now? If I'm not aligning the right tools, resources, and that includes people, then I'm not positioning myself to be proactive for building my own wealth. Or when I do hit a challenge, when I do hit an obstacle, a problem, because am I going to hit one? Absolutely. It's inevitable. But if I'm more proactive and I'm using my data correctly to benchmark, I'm going to be able to now get ahead of the curve sooner than later, to kind of now move through it faster, much easier, to now go to that next level. And I think that, by going all in, the message I'm getting is we got to be proactive. We can't wait for somebody. I can't wait, that Donald Trump's going to do something that's going to impact my financial future. I can't wait that there's going to be a new medical innovation that's going to, prolong my life. I have to take control over what I can within my control. I can't control genetics, but I can control what I do with my well-being, getting a certain amount of sleep, that I'm finding, getting some work-life harmony. I'm eating whole foods. I'm exercising. I can do those things. I could have a routine. I can be taking the steps necessary to use tools and resources like yourself to continue to grow and sustain my wealth. So that was what I'd like to emphasize the importance of what you shared here today and from the overall message of what go all in it. Now, if for any reason that is not 100% aligned, let me know either way, and please elaborate and share from there.
Yeah. So, I may have struggled, portion of my life with finances. The expression work hard, play hard. I kind of play hard, work hard, right? So there's an expression that says if you live like a lawyer while you're in law school, you will live like a law student while you're a lawyer. And I enjoyed my 20s. I made a decision at 28 to take off for the year. And I did a bicycle trip around the world. It's my favorite story of all time. You've heard me tell it. I did 35,000 miles, 200 people for a year at 28 years old. I got my rent, my girlfriend, my job all in place. And I took myself out of the workforce for a year and I ride my bicycle around the world. Do I regret it? No way. It was one of the best things I ever did. I went all in. I committed and I made that happen. It's a worthwhile story. But I lost out on some compound interest. The truth is, had I spent my 20s with as much velocity, and commitment to building finance that I am in my 50s, I have different needs now, but I lost out on some compound interest. So that's why one of our products is called $1 Million Baby. You can take a life insurance policy out on the earliest you could do it is 10 days old. And a 1-year-old is easier to insure than a 50-year-old. If you do it over time, you have instant millionaires at 65, and then they could pass it down from generation to generation to generation. So I did use some AI to write the book. So I identified some big challenges in the marketplace, and then we taught on some solutions. Chapter 1, understanding the crisis. We are in a crisis financially. The promise of financial transformation, like to actually transform and change your family's last name for good. Debunking financial myths, chapter 3. Building the foundation for success, chapter 4. And chapter 5, creating your financial blueprint. Your financial blueprint. I'm writing a policy right now for an exterminator. Blue collar guy, owns a home, owns a business, 2 kids, no will, no trust, no estate plan, no life insurance, no retirement plan, but has about $1.6 million in net worth. Blue collar, wealthy dude, but he's working 18 hours a day, and we don't know if his sons are going to want to take over the business or not. So we have to do some succession planning with him. And we went over a policy. We based on his income, we used a mathematical formula. They suggest that you should have about 10 times your annual income in life insurance. And you should have about 20 times your annual income in a retirement plan. So if you're 50 and you're making 100 grand, you should have about $1 million in life insurance. And you should have about 2 million in available funds from about 65, 70 to about 85, 90. But if you're going to live to 97, we got to mathematically put that in place. And if you die prematurely, we want to make sure your family is protected.
Yep. Well, like you said, it has a living component. You can borrow against a life insurance policy, and if you don't pay it back, well, it just gets deducted from the death benefit. That's kind of how it works. And I know that the show is more about talking about the go all in, but again, we highly encourage everybody to reach out to Drew, which Drew is going to give us his information here shortly. And again, at least to give you everybody a contextual foundation of what going all in is and how this can help build your wealth, your legacy, and financial freedom. Drew, as we get near the end of the show, in the last minute and a half here, anything else that you'd like to either summarize what you shared or elaborate to kind of connect the dots to what you shared today?
Yeah, I mean, I can do this for another 3 hours. You just said something really important. People could borrow against their life insurance policy, which means you could put money into your life insurance policy. You can borrow the cash value from it. You can use that money to pay for a wedding or buy yourself a car. You can invest that money elsewhere. Now it can generate interest. Your policy is still generating interest. You can pay it back yourself with interest, infinite banking, or you don't have to pay it back because the insurance company keeps the death benefit as collateral. So these are strategies of the super wealthy that we're bringing to the masses. And we're offering a 25-minute complimentary session where it's totally private and high level, where we'll go over your numbers. We'll help you mathematically see a picture of where you're at, what your debt to income ratio is, what your retirement goal are, what your education and future for generations is. And we'll make some suggestions. We'll do it for free. We'll do it for 25 minutes. And if you like some of our suggestions and you want to go put them in order in the marketplace, do it. If you want to work with us, a lot of our services don't cost you anything because the carriers pay us. If we have to get you an estate plan, some of our policies include a free will trust and estate plan. Happy to do a consult. I'm at Drew at drewberman.com. That's where I live. We offer a free retirement strategy on drewberman.com. You can see a quick little video about how some of our policies compare to 401ks. And all my contact numbers on there. You can reach out to me. It's my cell phone. I'll pick up the phone. I'll ask you how I can make your day more wonderful. And hopefully we can help you prepare for the best years of your life, which are about to come.
Wow, powerful stuff here. Thank you so much, Drew, for sharing. And we still got a little time left before we conclude. What I'd like you to see if you could share in the next 30 to 40 seconds, just a high impact statement to leave everybody on a high note to take action here today of going all in.
Nobody's coming to save you. The White House is on fire. The economy is up and down. Tariffs are confusing. The market goes up, the market goes down. If the market goes down, you got to protect your assets. And we have something that's called indexed. When you index your it's like hedging your bets. And this way, when the market goes up, you make more money. When the market goes down, you're protected. Warren Buffett said, rule number one, don't lose your money. My name is Drew Berman at drewberman.com, author of To Go All In, and it is your blueprint for wealth, legacy, and financial freedom.
Excellent. Drew, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you're traveling, you're on the road, heading to an event here, I think starting probably tonight and then for tomorrow and Saturday, or actually through the weekend, I believe, from what you shared with me. We wish you much success with that. And again, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today to share your insights on this valuable topic that applies to everybody.
My pleasure. Thank you, Chris. What a great interview.
Thank you. Again, listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Sustainable Success. We are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Drew Berman in each and every week to share their words of wisdom and insights and personal experience to take you to the next level. And we want to thank you for being here. As we always say, if sustainable success is going to work, you got to take action. Be accountable. We'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you for tuning into Sustainable Success. Be sure to join Chris Salem and his guests every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Channel. Have an incredible week.